Hey guys, welcome to the studio, welcome to the office. I'm already done with all of the business stuff and it's not even 11, which is really great. So I have a lot of time to actually make music today. And as you already know from yesterday's video, my song Secrets that wasn't even released a week ago hit the charts. To be more precise, the BEATPORT charts. BEATPORT is the biggest DJ buying songs store on the planet, which is really great. I'm at spot number 69. I think like in like half an hour it should be updated. I hope I will like get a couple of spots up. And so many people actually asked me like on Instagram. I mean, a lot of people said congrats, so thanks, and thanks for the support, because without you this wouldn't happen. But the most asked question was actually about how much money you make when you hit the charts, the BEATPORT charts, but also in general about the Billboard charts, the Spotify charts. I will try and answer all of these questions, but first it's about time to make a little bit of music here in the studio.
Secrets too dangerous to give away. In my mind they'll stay.
A successful music production day all done. I continued working on one of the new album songs called Underwater. If you're interested, I will play it to you at the very end in the outro. Now let's actually get to the main topic, the thing a lot of people are interested in, how much money you actually make when you're in the charts. So let's start with the biggest one, the Billboard charts. They are a little bit complicated, to be honest, because back in the days you had sales of vinyl and CDs just combined, and this then made the charts. Nowadays, they also factor in downloads from iTunes, for example, and also streaming. And for example, for a vinyl sale, a CD sale, you basically get like one sale. For Spotify streaming, it's just like a fraction of that. And also for downloads, I think it's half of what you would get for like a physical sale. And most of these numbers are not public. Also the same for example, for the German charts, the German dance charts, the European charts, and all of these. You can't really have access to them. But if you're on top of them, you usually make a ton of money. But nowadays, the most important is actually Spotify. Because you're first big on Spotify, then the radio will play you, and then you will hopefully end up in the charts. And the Spotify numbers are all public. You just go into Spotify and like everything is there, all of the plays. So for example, if I go into browse and then charts, I get the German top 50. We're not interested in them because the German charts are just like really bad German hip hop kind of stuff that they just buy their spots in the charts. But that's a whole nother topic. Let's go to the global top 50, because I think that's like being there on spot number 1 is probably one of the biggest things you can achieve as a musician if you're like doing commercial music. And on spot number 1 is at the moment by Tones and I, Dance Monkey. Number 2 is Selena Gomez with Lose You to Love Me. And Maroon 5 with Memories on 3. The first spot has 6 million plays per day. Per day. That's not per month, per whatever, per day. The second is at 4.8, and then Maroon 5 4.4. But if we scroll down to spot number 50, it's just 1.2 million. So even within the top 50, there is like a huge gap between number 1, number 2, and then of course down to number 50. And if we now want to translate 6 million plays per day into money, I can give you a pretty exact number, because actually one of my songs, my most successful one, has 3 million plays on Spotify, not in a day and not in a week or month. It took like 2.5 years to get up to that number. And I got pretty much right around 10,000 euros, which might seem like a lot, and yes, it is. I don't know what I spend it on. Probably the studio, the speakers, the equipment. I just love gear, and like I'm always broke no matter how much I earn. But it's, yeah, around 10,000 for 3 million streams. It is like half a cent usually per stream, but this can hugely vary. It really depends, because Spotify is collecting all of the money they make through the subscription, through all of the ad revenue, and then divided by all of the plays, and then you get your share for your plays. So right before Christmas, it could go up a little, Maybe if there are a lot of good songs released at the same time, a lot of big artists release their albums, you might get a little less because they take care of the most streams and get more share of it. So it really depends and varies, but usually around 0.4, 0.5 cents per stream. There's actually a big but, because that's the money Spotify pays, but it's not what they pay to the artist, because the artist isn't directly in contact with Spotify. There's always a label in between for the big artists and always a distributor in between for all of the artists. There's no way to send your songs to Spotify directly and get paid. There's always a distributor at least in between, usually also a label. The distributor will take from the money that Spotify gives out at least 20%, between 20 and 30%, and then the label will take half if it's an indie label. If it's a major label, they might take up to 80%, which is really unfair. It was fair back in the days because they had to print CDs and vinyl, and they had a lot of expenses. I understand that, but nowadays it's just like globally just one upload and that's it, and still taking around 80%. Is really not nice and fair towards the artists. But that's actually a whole nother topic. So we had for spot number 1 at the moment 6 million streams per day, which is around 10 to 12 maybe. That's what I got because I have my own label, so I get double. But then usually the artist would maybe get 5, 6, 7,000, which is still a lot. But then also usually an artist that is at spot number 1 of the global Spotify charts has a management. A management takes 20 to 25%. And maybe if they're really huge, they might even have a lawyer that has a percentage share of like 3 to 5%. I know Michael Jackson had one. He really needed one. But yeah, so at the end, I'd say around like 1,000 per million streams. It really hugely depends on your contracts. It can be twice as much, but it will never be like 10 times as much. So I think we're pretty close here. So they get around 6,000 to 8,000 per day just from the streams. If you now calculate that, that's like over 200,000 or around 200,000 per month, which is a lot of money. But that's just like factoring in if you have a #1 hit song for an entire month. Usually it will drop after a week. Other people will overtake you. So I'd say 100,000. If you're on top of the charts, let's say on average at spot number 10 or 20, you can make like 80 to 100,000 within a month. And that's really good. Other people need 1 year to actually make that. But also here, of course, you have to understand that as an artist, you invest a lot. Like, for example, just take my career. I started 15 years ago DJing, 12 years ago producing. And out of those 15 years, I would say like 12, I didn't make a single cent. It was just training, investing into equipment, like being broke all the time, frustrated, problems, family, friends, girlfriend, because you're not just like doing something normal. And if you factor all of this in and you compare what you could have done with a normal job in all of those years, you're still losing. Like, I think as an artist, if you have one hit in the charts, you basically break even, if even. If you want to make a plus and have a nice life, of course you have to have multiple hits in a row to also be relevant in 5 or even 10 years. And of course, this doesn't factor in all of the touring, merchandising, brand deals, and all this kind of stuff. So I think when you're like in the global top 50 Spotify, there's, yeah, you just really don't have to worry about anything anymore. By the way, I just checked on BEATPORT. My song that was 69 this morning is now updated to 52, which is just amazing. So again, thanks to all of you. If you want to check out the song, it will be linked down below in the description. If you want to buy it on BEATPORT to help me to like get a little up the charts, this would be really, really appreciated. Again, the BEATPORT charts, it's like the world leading source for electronic dance music for DJs, but it's pretty nerdy. So only DJs buy their music there. So having there a chart song doesn't actually result in that many bought songs. So probably just a couple hundred, which is still really great because it's a club track and I love seeing that like DJs buy it and hopefully also play it. So again, thanks a lot. This is like, it really means a lot to me. And if you want to know how much you actually need to be on spot number 1 of Beatport, it's way, way, way less than you might think. I would say with like 1,000 sales, maybe 2,000, maybe 3,000 within 1 week should be actually enough to be at number 1. And if you're number 1 a couple of times, this will definitely guarantee you bookings and being able to tour the world as a DJ. The last one are the iTunes charts. It's not really actually worth talking about them. Even my songs, without promoting them in any way specifically for iTunes, usually get into the dance electronic top 100 for a couple of days, and then I get from my distributor back the statement, and it's then like 7 to 20 sales. That's really all you need for those charts. I mean, streaming just killed the download immediately. I mean, it's obvious. You just pay way less and have all of the music available. So downloads are really, really down. I think you could even do more vinyl sales. Anyways, that's pretty much it for today. I will go back to working on the next album song called Underwater. It will play in a couple of seconds. Have fun, enjoy it. It's just a preview, it's not done yet. And if you want to support, again, my secret song that is up in the Beatport charts, it's linked down below in the description. Thanks a lot. We'll see us tomorrow back again. Another vlog here in the studio, sharing my life as a DJ and producer.
Think I'm gonna die.